Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, I apologise about that, and also if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well. If there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision 2022 related video here on my channel, and specifically I'll be talking about Melodifestivalen again, which as we all know is the Swedish selection for Eurovision, and you'll have seen the title of this video so you know what's coming. Today I'll be telling you my thoughts as to why I think Cornelia Jakobs should win Melodifestivalen 2022. Now maybe you agree with me on that, maybe you don't, whatever it is, feel free to leave comments, it's much appreciated, and as always feel free to check out the links in the description to my other social media pages if you so wish. So, Cornelia Jakobs, Hold Me Closer, could it be our Melfest 2022 winner? Well, here's what's interesting about it really, for me, because prior to Melfest, but after we knew the complete lineup, I'm not sure anybody really looked at her name and thought, yeah, that could be one to keep an eye out for. Certainly I didn't. I didn't really know too much about her as an artist, and then when I did my research, I discovered that she's been making music for years, and she's been in Melfest before, twice, as part of Love Generation, albeit about a decade ago. I mean, as soon as we knew who was going to be in what heat, taking a look at Heat 1, which was on February the 5th, weeks ago now, looking at it, you would have thought, okay, Robin Bengtsson's back, so he's going to cruise through to the final and win this heat. And then maybe Malu Pritz, because she's been involved a couple of times before, she's been in the final of Melfest too, so maybe she'll go through along with Robin. Then you could have said, well, Omar's been involved before, and he might have a really great song, he'll go through to the second chance round, and then I don't really know about the others. But Cornelia Jakobs' name, what I'm trying to get at here, is that it didn't really leap out at you from the lineup. But not only has she gone through to the Melfest final 2 weeks from now, she won the first heat ahead of Robin. And that's a sign in itself that clearly her song is very popular, because Innocent Love is not a bad track. And Robin has plenty of Melfest pedigree. Every time he's been in Melfest, he's gone through to the final automatically. So to come out on top of him, I think is quite impressive. And as the weeks have gone by, I mean, in Heat 2 we had John Lundvik and Liamu. John Lundvik has represented Sweden before. Liamu has been in the final before. Really quite predictable stuff, you could say. And then in Heat 3, Anders went through, which is not a surprise because his song is just the sort of thing I thought Sweden would go big for anyway. Plus, he's a very well-known figure in Sweden. And then Faith Kakembo being involved before, and looking at the lineup, looking at the names involved, you might well have thought, okay, Faith had a song a few years ago which was pretty good. She was unlucky not to make the top 4 then. Maybe she'll go through automatically this time. And then in Heat 4, people were very excited about Clara Hammarström, and usually if you are on last in the last heat, it is a sign that the producers of Melfest think you could be onto something very special. And I know, I saw a lot of comments last week, people were really hoping Clara's song was going to do the business and become a real threat to win, shall we say. And while I think Run to the Hills is a very good pop song, is it really quite at that level to win? I don't know. I really don't know. Certainly, if it's going to be a woman representing Sweden this year, and quite frankly it should be because it's been ages since we had a solo female act represent Sweden, that's another reason why Cornelia winning would be great. It's between Hold Me Closer and Run to the Hills, as far as I'm concerned. I don't really see another woman winning Melfest this year. It's not going to be Anna Bergendahl, because she's got to come through this week's 5th semi-final first. You've also got Faith Kakembo, as I just mentioned. I don't think her song is winning whatsoever. And then that's really about it. As for the guys, well, I'm thinking ahead through to the final. Robin Bengtsson's got mid-table written all over it. Liamu, very slick. Juries love a slick performance. John Lundvik, they loved him a few years ago. But really, it's Anders or nothing, as far as the guys are concerned. And I've seen a lot of comments online, and people are concerned that Sweden will pick Bigger Than the Universe. And now I'm going to talk about why they shouldn't pick that song. Because as much as it's a fine track, my God, isn't it so plain? It's so plain. It's like the most disappointing sandwich you'll ever have. There's no filling. There's no succulent taste to it. It's so bland and disappointing. Now, the thing with Bigger Than the Universe, and I think perhaps the biggest issue, if issue's the right word, with this particular song, I know I'm rambling here, but stick with me, is that we've heard this all before, haven't we? Bigger Than the Universe, just the title of the song alone, it makes you think, oh, here we go, it's going to be a song about peace, and how we're better as one, and how we can all come together and solve these crises, blah, 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 blah. And the performance, which I'm sure most of you, if not all of you, will have seen by now, he just stood there. There wasn't a whole lot of movement. He was in this black outfit, belting this tune out, and behind him we had images of nature, lakes, mountains. I can't quite remember. It's been ages since I saw it. But it was all very predictable, wasn't it? There was nothing surprising about the way that this song was executed. And in what was perhaps the weakest semi-final for this year's Melfest, it was so obvious he was going to cruise through. On name alone, it was quite clear he was going to cruise through. But Sweden don't need to be sending a song like this. They don't. But they probably will pick it. Certainly in the public half of the results, he could win by an absolute mile. It happened with Tussa. It could happen again this year. Where he might struggle is with the juries. Are the international juries, and we don't know which countries they are yet, are they going to gravitate towards this rather cheesy track? Or are they going to appreciate something else? Are they going to enjoy Liamu bopping about for 3 minutes? Are they going to enjoy Clara Hammarström in her very sort of reddish bronze tree-like outfit? Or are the juries going to appreciate Cornelia Jakobs, which they should? I don't see why they wouldn't. What's really working in Cornelia's favour is the fact that this song is so touching, and it's emotional and personal and very raw, and it's not over the top. With a song like this, it could easily go over the top. You could have your musician front and centre, tears, throwing their hair back, just really, really going for it. But Cornelia doesn't really do that. It's reined in just a little bit. That really works. And the way that this performance was shot, it all felt very natural. It almost felt as though it had only been rehearsed once or twice and they were just running with whatever they had. And I don't mean that as an insult. Maybe you agree with me and maybe see what I'm trying to say here. It all felt very naturally staged. There wasn't anything flashy about it. There didn't need to be anything flashy about it. It was just one woman alone on stage pouring her heart out. And yeah, towards the end, we could see the emotion on Cornelia's face. We could hear it in her voice. But again, I don't think it was too over the top. It was reined in just a touch. All we had was this rotating disc on stage, which was green at the start, and then I think it was red near the end, and she spun it around at one point. There was nothing too flashy about her outfit. There was this really great moment where she leaned into the crowd and sort of touched somebody's hand. I can see that in Turin. I can see that happening. It's just a song that I think resonates on a much deeper level with people than Bigger Than the Universe. Bigger Than the Universe is just this sort of big topic. That's what it's trying to do. It's this big topic, and it's trying to appeal to as many individuals as possible. And I'm not sure it totally succeeds in that department. I think I'm thinking of this from a sort of literary standpoint here, because I studied writing for so many years, and the key with poetry, for example, is to focus on the smaller details, rather than honing in on the big overarching topics such as love, hate, war, all of that. Focus on the small things. And Hold Me Closer is a very intimate song, which is about a much bigger topic, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way. It feels very personal and up close, almost as if we're intruding on this diary entry that Cornelia is bringing out front and centre. What a massive ramble this is. Hopefully you can understand what I'm trying to get at here. Not only is the song great, I think she sings great. She's got this slight raspiness to her voice, which I think really works well with this song. And it starts off really slowly. You know, you could almost hear a pin drop perhaps. And then we've got that chorus where the stage opens up a bit. And then by the end, you know, she's really going for it. It just moves up a notch. And even when it does that, it doesn't feel overblown. There's no fireworks. There's no flashy elements to it, as I already said. Anders' song is like that. Anders' performance is like that. But Hold Me Closer just feels more ready for Eurovision. It really does. Bigger Than the Universe feels ultra plain. And as we know, Sweden tend to copy and paste their Melfest performance to Eurovision. They don't really need to change it, because Melfest in a way is like a little Eurovision anyway. So in Turin, Anders would have that big screen behind him, and he'll be standing there in a casual black outfit, belting his song out. That's not really going to stand out too much. I don't think so. Yeah, it's a rousing track and it builds up quite nicely, but even so, people are saying that if this goes to Eurovision, it's a non-qualifier for Sweden, which I disagree with, but I don't think it would get them a very good result, no better than Tussa last year. Whereas Cornelia, the start of this song, we're up close, she's looking into the camera, she looks a bit sad. You're immediately invested. I think so. With Anders, it's big and expansive, and Cornelia's right up close, and intimate and personal and raw. And I just think it's an absolutely terrific track. Sweden should send her, because it's about time they sent a solo female artist, apologies. And this is just so different from anything we've had in the past. You know, this isn't so vanilla. This isn't so bog standard, typical stuff from Sweden. This is something that could connect with people across Europe. This is something that people will hopefully be engaged with, and it'll stick out in their memories. Imagine it's the grand final in May in Turin, and this song is halfway through the running order. I don't think people will forget it. I really don't. In what is shaping up to be a slightly more disappointing year in terms of quality than we've had for a long time, this would stand out more than Bigger Than the Universe. I am sure of it. But the Swedish public may still end up picking Anders. That's the thing. They shouldn't, but they probably will. Where Anders may struggle is with the juries, even though Bigger Than the Universe screams a jury favourite, doesn't it? At least I think so. So, if not Cornelia, and if not Anders, who's going to win? They might cancel each other out in the results. That's a possibility, and then somebody else sneaks in and takes the trophy. Could it be Liamu? Possibly. Could it be Clara? Possibly. Medina? Absolutely one to keep an eye out for, because a lot of people really loving that song at the moment, and it was a good live performance. And who knows? That could certainly get a lot of love, particularly from the public. It reminds me a little bit of Vemir Samos by Aniston Demina a few years ago. Never going to win Melfest, but a lot of people got on board with it after the performance, and he ended up getting a lot of love in the end. But, for me, it's Cornelia Jakobs or bust. I really love the song, loved it from the first time I heard it. I've watched the performance many times. I just think that this feels so much better than every other song we've got. You know, maybe because it isn't a predictable Melfest type track. It isn't the sort of thing we usually get from Sweden. There is perhaps more artistic value with this song. Perhaps it feels more current, almost. I don't know. Robin's song, Innocent Love, we've heard it all before. Liamu, we've sort of heard that before. John Lundvik, we've heard that before. We've definitely heard Bigger Than the Universe before, and Freedom, which to me is a sort of watered down Voices anyway. Run to the Hills is very good. It's very good. That's ready for Eurovision as well. And if Clara wins, fine. I'm fine with it. Medina aren't winning. So that leaves Cornelia. My word, what a ramble this video is. What a mess. I should have scripted it, really. But do let me know your thoughts on this. I just think it's wonderful that we've got this artist who maybe nobody really thought was going to push for the win at all, pushing for the win 2 weeks from now. What might not work for her is, yes, Anders might get all the love from the public, but also she performed in the first semi-final. That was weeks ago. So her next performance is going to be in the grand final. She's really got to deliver. And also, in the first semi-final, the app voting didn't work. It was the televote alone. So she won the semi-final on the televote alone. Will the app voting love her as much? All of the age ranges, will they love that song as much? I really don't know. But surely she's going to finish in the top 3, if not win. And if she goes to Eurovision, Sweden are a threat. Sweden are a threat. You've got Italy, yeah, that's about it. You've got Norway, I suppose, as well, and Australia, Poland. But Sweden might just sneak in there, as they've often done in the past, and say, hello, don't forget about us. We'll be pushing for the win as well this year. It could happen. It really could. Now, as much as I love the song, like I said, no offence to any of the other artists, because, you know, I pretty much like every other song in the final. But really Hold Me Closer is the one I think Sweden should be going for. What I'm going to do now, just for a bit of fun, we don't know all of the songs in the final yet, of course, but I thought it would be pretty good to maybe just make a very rough prediction as to what might happen. So, don't take this as gospel, because it will change, and I intend to make a video soon predicting the results of Melfest, which will be, who knows, maybe a bit more accurate. Cornelia, wonderful. Robin, well, Robin, as much as Innocent Love is fine, it's not winning material, is it? You know, he's been to Eurovision, been there, done that. Do we really need him again? I don't think so. And if he doesn't represent Sweden again this year, then is he ever going to do it again? Is he just going to keep coming back for the hell of it, to make up the numbers? I don't know. Robin's not winning. Liamu might win, but only if the votes are a bit split. John Lundvik, oh man, the juries love a bit of John. We know that much, and the song's pretty good, but I don't think he's winning. Again, he's done Eurovision. Cornelia hasn't. There's a place for her in Turin. Anders, yeah, we'll see. I don't really understand why the song is so popular, actually. I really don't know why the song is so popular. You're voting for the song and not who is the biggest name. It's as simple as that. And if you're voting for the song, there's a better choice. Then we have Faith, who I think might struggle quite a lot. Clara, and Medina. Okay. And then in terms of the semi-final 5, which I'll discuss more in a future video, 2 go through from each group, so that will be Anna Bergendahl, and let's say Alvaro, because he has a habit of sneaking through every year, and then from group 2, let's say Teos, and also Lisa Miskovsky, because she won the public vote in round 2 of voting the other week. So yeah, let's say that. So, you won't be able to see this, but I'll hold it up anyway. You know, really thinking about it, yeah. Cornelia is back to front, but Cornelia to win, then Anders, Clara, Liamu, John, Medina, Robin, Anna, Teots, Lisa, Faith, and Alvaro. There you go. It's not an explosive track, Hold Me Closer, not at all. Like I said, it's very intimate, it's very raw, it's very personal. It's not over the top. And You know, you've got Brividi, which is very intimate as well. You've got Give That Wolf a Banana, which is a little bit of a novelty act, but it's up-tempo, it's fun. You've got Australia's Song, which is a ballad. You could say, we don't need another ballad. We don't need ballads galore. We need up-tempo stuff. And yeah, we'll get more up-tempo stuff. We've got a lot of internal choices still to go. But if the song is quality, then surely it deserves to be at the contest. And I'd rather Sweden sent a cracking female musician with a really lovely, low-key, personal, intimate song than another guy singing something that could easily have been the UK's entry 15 years ago. But here's the thing, and it's worth saying this. If Bigger Than the Universe was the British entry this year, it would be slated beyond belief. Not just from British Eurovision fans, but from a lot of other people as well. It would struggle for points. If Bigger Than the Universe ends up being Sweden's entry, would it struggle for points? Probably not. And that's not the way it should be. But, you know, it is what it is. I'd be interested to see what would happen, whether Anders would get Sweden's worst result for years, or whether, you know, the juries would actually go big for it, and the public would give him a reasonable amount of points as well, and he'd end up getting, you know, an alright result in the final. I'd be interested to know. But Hold Me Closer is the song Sweden should be sending. It's just better. It's just a better song. You know, I don't find it boring. I can understand why people would, but I don't find it boring. I find it really engaging. And I think that's because of the way it's shot, the way it's presented, the way it's executed. You know? It just feels like a really strong performance, even though there's not really a whole lot to it. The emphasis is on her. There's nobody else around her, which is great. She doesn't need anybody else. The emphasis is on her, her voice, and what she's singing. There doesn't need to be anything else to elevate the song. Sometimes you have a really bad song, and you've got so many other things happening around it to try and get people on board. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you have a really good song that has all of this other stuff happening around it, and it's completely unnecessary, it's a distraction, it's rubbish. This is just right. Just right. It's a triumph. And it's time for something different. We don't need somebody who's done Eurovision before, and we don't need a song that is really quite forgettable. We need something that is golden. Hold Me Closer is that. There we go. I rest my case. I have nothing else to say. I really want to apologise, actually, because I think I'm going to look back at this video and realise that it's not turned out terribly well, and I didn't articulate my thoughts in a particularly good way. I've repeated myself a lot, which is usually the result with these types of videos. But let me know what you think. Should Sweden send her? And if not her, who should they send instead? And do you think that this is Eurovision winning material? Because I know some people out there do think Hold Me Closer could win Eurovision this May. That's quite interesting. It could be Sweden's 7th victory, tying with Ireland. Who knows? Absolutely wonderful. It's my personal choice, and I think it should be Sweden's choice. But we wait and see. Give it 2 weeks. If it's anything like what we've seen in the national final season so far, which has been really unpredictable at times, then maybe, I don't know, maybe Medina will win. You know, maybe they will. But, you know, that's just a very rough prediction. Don't take it seriously. That's it. I'll be back with another Melfest related video very soon, talking about semi-final 5. That will be in a few days. My next video, all being well, bring on the quality. Yes, indeed, because tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow, isn't it? We're getting the Dutch entry for Turin. Oh my God. Hopefully that's going to be absolutely majestic stuff. I'm really hoping so. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Anyway, until next time, hopefully you enjoyed this video for what it is. Very messy, I know. But until next time, hopefully the quality wasn't too bad. Links in the description to my other social media pages. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and roll on more of this Eurovision 2022 season. Sweden, you've got one job. Don't let us down. Until next time, bye for now.